Welcome into the Sports Buffoons Podcast.
What is going on, buffooneries, buffoonies? You know what? We'll have to work on that nickname later for you guys. We really want to include the community in this, so if you have a good nickname for you, give a shout out on Twitter or come join us on Twitch on Wednesday. Yes, Twitch. So we should be hosting live on Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Central on twitch.com/sportsbuffoons15. So keep an eye out for that. We will post that on Twitter as well. Try to give you guys a reminder. So we got some, like I said, exciting stuff continuing to happen here at Sports Buffoons. Well, this is Tanner. I'm going at it solo today. I have a pretty good show lined up for you, and we're going to chat a little bit about some NBA, what should happen after the finals. We're going to include that a little bit with some college basketball, and then also MLB, what should happen after the World Series. So, just like I said, remember to follow us on twitter.com/sportsbuffoons, and keep an eye out for our Twitch and YouTube postings as well. All right, so let's jump into this NBA, guys. So we got the finals finally figured out, at least for teams. They haven't announced the TV schedule just yet. So we got Miami Heat versus the LA Lakers. So you got Jimmy Butler versus Anthony Davis and LeBron James. Should be a great matchup. I think I vote that it goes 7, the way that both teams are playing right now. But LeBron's on a mission. So keep an eye out for that guy to really explode in the finals, and unlike he did during the playoffs. Anyway, so we're not going to talk about that today. We'll save that for Wednesday. Maybe Jason and I'll touch on it. Maybe he'll touch on it beforehand too. But let's talk about the NBA, guys. So the NBA, started on time. COVID hit, and then they started a bubble season. So now they're delayed, and now it's just October on Wednesday, and we're just now starting the finals. Okay, so obviously, off-season activities are off. The whole start of the season is off. But what should they do? Like what should happen with the free agencies? Should the drafts move? Stuff like that. So normally on a regular season, you would have to be eligible for the draft by the end of May from the NCAA. The NBA draft would then happen at the end of June. And also at the end of June, teams and players will have to decide on contract talks, will you be eligible for a player restriction for free agency, and you can also start verbal agreements with anybody who has announced free agency. So then July hits, a week later, then free agency starts and ends about 15 days later. And then late September, training camp begins. And then the season usually starts right at the end of October, beginning of November. So obviously, if we're playing finals, probably starting Wednesday, or maybe even Tuesday, you're still looking at the NBA going, if they go 7, for at least 2 more weeks. Yes, they're in a bubble. I just see them trying to extend it out 2 more weeks for however they can. Since they don't have to travel, it'd be nice if they can do it within a week and a half, but I see it happening. I don't see it being finished within 2 weeks. So then you're talking mid-October, and what happens then, right? So where's free agency? What happens with the NBA draft? What happens with off-season activities, training camp, Winter League, all that stuff, right? So obviously Winter League will still go on. I don't see that really stopping anybody, who needs it. So, but here's my proposal. So let's just say this is a usual, right? So around this time frame, 2 weeks into October is when we finish the finals. Comes to normalcy, right? So then I vote. You start the NBA draft the first week in November. Sometime the first week in November. And then free agency can begin a week after that. By the end of November, you have your camp preseason begins. And your season should start January 1st. Now, I'd be okay with Christmas Day. I'd love Christmas Day. I think you'll probably see a Lakers, Clippers, or Lakers somebody on Christmas Day, honestly. But I believe the best bet to do this on is starting January 1st for the season. Now, I also propose that we cut it back to 50 to 60 games instead of 72 during the season. So now we start, because NBA's always want to start it later. They want to start in December, they want to start in January. Now, I believe if we start January 1st, we cut it back to 50, 60 games at the most, right? That's end of the season after the finals. That's including playoffs, finals, done, right? All the games are played and done. They should end by end of July or early August at the latest. So that gives you, 2, 3, almost 4 months of off-season for these guys, because that's what they need. I don't think they have enough off-season. That's why you see all these devastating injuries early in the season. So, all right, so we got then everything I said before, the NBA draft, free agency, that can all actually happen now in October in that same time frame. And then November, that preseason, the camps, the preseason workouts, all that stuff can start mid-November, or maybe right before or right after Thanksgiving break, right? And then the season still starts Christmas Day, January 1st, right? So I think that would be the best. Now, one thing you do have to consider is the NCAA basketball season. NCAA basketball, we all know, we pretty much treat it like almost like a minor league team for the NBA. Yes, they got their G League, but college basketball is still a big deal. And a lot of teams focus on college basketball for talent. So what about the NCAA basketball season, right? Well, that's a great question. And I know this will be difficult, but here's my proposal for the NCAA basketball season. I say we push the season this year to match it up with NBA. So I think we should start in March, right? March. Yes, I said March. No March. I'd say vote out March Madness, and let's make it July Madness or something like that. Something in July is when the season or when the tournament should start. So this will actually help on the student part of student athlete for these guys too, because I mean you're playing sports. I know a lot of people that played sports and had school, and it can be stressful. You got finals going on, you got big exams, papers. Why not let these kids focus? If you're so concerned about the student portion, let these kids focus between August and January, February, and March comes. The worst thing they got is their finals exam. But they should be prepared if they were studying, right? So that would help on the student part, and maybe get rid of some of these dumb NCAA violations. Cough, cough, North Carolina. Cough, cough. For education purposes, right? So let's say we start in March. Season starts in March. Preseason, they do their exhibition games, can happen late February, whatever. Sometime before that. And then March, the season starts. Conference play starts by April, mid-April. And then by the end of July, tournament should be finished. Early August, late July. It syncs up with the NBA. Now there's less delay for these college guys to have to wait for the draft, wait for free agency, and start with their new team. It kind of syncs up with it. And now you're almost treating it like a minor league for these guys. So now the NCAA just needs to pull their heads out of their ass and actually work with the NBA. That's going to be the most profitable thing for the NCAA itself, is to actually work with the NBA. If they don't work with the NBA, then they're just asking for all these kids to stop going to college and go to the G League for the NBA. So if the NCAA can do that, I believe sync up with the NBA, however they ended up doing it. That's going to be the biggest thing for these guys. And now, think about it, too, for sports, right? So think about it for sports. Between January and August, you have basketball that's starting, baseball comes into play, NFL draft comes into play, then you have towards the end of basketball, it's middle of the season baseball, it's training camp time for the Chiefs, NFL, right? And then basketball's finished, baseball's starting their playoff run, there's no competition there, there's no needed, and now NFL's starting their stuff. The NBA, you can't lose here. Like, you got everybody's attention. They want something during this time frame, and you're gonna have basketball going between the hard months. Baseball starts, you got the ramp up, and then it kind of dies down again for some people. So, this is a win-win for the NBA and the NCAA if they were to go with that. So that's my thought. What I was thinking. What should the NBA do? Now, what are they going to do? I heard, I think it's just rumors at this point. I heard mid-October here. They're talking about the draft and free agency, but that's just too long for a kid to wait. I'm trying to think of the athlete itself. Like, the best part for the athletes, right? Rest, but also for the young guys coming in the league, and you don't want that to hurt their development. So that's I hope the NBA at least listens. NCAA, I beg you to listen, to do something different. You've been frustrated the last few years. I hope you try to do something different. Work with the NBA, because I guarantee your results will become positive. So that's kind of my idea. Let me know what you guys think too. Hit me up on Twitter. Get us on Twitch. Talked about it. You also find this podcast on YouTube, and of course all your major podcasts. Leave a comment too. So, let me know what your guys' thoughts. Maybe you have a different plan. I'd love to hear some different ideas and thoughts around the NBA and what they can do to make this a regular January through August, September season at the most going on. So I'd love to hear from you guys on what you think there. So MLB, right? So the MLB start Wednesday playoffs. We had the wild card game, and everybody plays. Everybody plays in this one. I'm looking actually really forward to it. So I'm already looking forward to having the TV on and my phone at MLB TV. So I'm ready to watch that and check out some teams here. So think about this, right? So they're pretty much on schedule. They might play into middle of November with the World Series if certain series go a certain length, right? And that's going to be tough. I know they're talking about a bubble. I haven't read too far on it, but I really hope there's a dome team in there, or a dome stadium at least, because you hit end of October, November, if you're heading up north anywhere, it could be chilly. It could be chilly. The weather's kind of already changing now, at least here in the Midwest. Well, we just went from 90 to pretty much 50. So I was preferred sitting around the 70s, but whatever. So I really feel for the baseball weather. I want these guys to be able to play their elite at the World Series. That's the best part about it. Yes, weather element's great other years, but this year, no fans, being in a bubble, quote unquote, format for the playoffs. I really hope they have an indoor stadium and that they can have the even playing field with these guys, since there's no traveling or moving around. So I'm really hoping in the World Series, guys, we at least end it by November, first week of November, and they continue to start their rotations. I'm really looking forward to hearing what's going to go on with the minor league system. So I know lots of good coaches in the past got let go. Some organizations took advantage of this and closed down some teams. It's a sad deal for baseball, really. Baseball is hurting. It is hurting, unfortunately, in the revenue department, at least for their sake, right? I mean, obviously not owners and stuff, but it's still a big deal to think about. Like, what's going to go on? Like, are we going to have only 25% of minor league startup come spring? So I'm kind of interested in that. If you guys hear anything, got any insights, give a tweet out, comment, let me know. This is something I'm going to try to be following this offseason as we continue on with the playoffs as well. What's going to go on with the minor leagues? There's a brand new one down in Wichita Stadium that got built for these guys, and COVID hit and can't do it. So I was really looking forward to make a trip or two down there. Obviously hit a brewery or two, but it sounds like that may not even happen. So let me know what your guys' thoughts, what you've been hearing. Love to continue to hear more development around the minor leagues for baseball. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna end it here. I don't want to go on too far longer here with my rants. But we got the NBA Finals starting. You got the MLB playoffs starting, right? So we're gonna have stuff to talk about on the podcast, especially the buffoons. NFL, we always gonna talk about the NFL, right? Let's be real. That's really what we care about, fantasy football, stuff like that. So it looks like we're just wrapping up week 3, at least for Sunday. Today's Monday, it'll be Monday when this comes out. So we got the Chiefs Ravens tonight. Really excited for that game. I'll be staying in, of course, but I know a lot of people are going out for it. And let's hope Mahomes can stay undefeated against Lamar. Lamar's looking good, so the Ravens are looking good overall, truly. So keep an eye out for those guys. That game tonight, and let us know your thoughts. I'll try to be tweeting out through that game as well. Give us a tweet, twitter.com/sportsbuffoons. Any topics you have suggestions for. Also find us on twitch.com/sportsbuffoons15 come Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Central. And you always find us on youtube.com/sportsbuffoons for our podcast as well. We are on Amazon Music now. And so keep an eye out. If you have Amazon Music, we are on there as they added their podcast section. So that is pretty cool there. Anyways, guys, have a good week. Happy Monday. I hope you have a great week this week because it's been a shitty one. It feels like the last few. So enjoy the weather. I'll catch you guys on Wednesday. Deuce.